Hi, everyone, and welcome to day 3 of the BNB Chain Hackvolution event and campaign, where we are bringing together some of the best founders and leaders in the Web3 community to share their insights, their knowledge, and really what they're building here at BNB Chain with you, for the developers, the creators, and ultimately users of Web3 products here at BNB Chain that are fundamentally shaping how we interact with the world of Web3. So we're very excited for today's lineup. We have a pretty packed schedule full of insights on cutting edge innovation in the space with some of the best founders building it. So really excited to share with you what that will be happening today. For the very first session, we will be joined by Combo and Luna from Combo, who is their head of business development, who will be talking to you today about exploring the future of blockchain gaming, kind of touching on the trends, the challenges, as well as opportunities for developers and users in the space. So without further ado, I would love to welcome Luna to the stage. Hi, Luna. How's it going?
Hi, hello everyone. Hello, Marvin. It's my pleasure to be here and to introduce all the fun we explored in the
Brilliant.
gaming industry.
Welcome. Well, a very special welcome to you, Luna. I will hand over the stage to you to share what you're building at Combo and some of the exciting opportunities that you see in the space. So
Sure.
Over to you.
Thank you so much. Before my presentation, I would love to share you guys our slide. Okay, thank you. Thank you for playing our demo, and thank you also for your time to watch who is Combo. And now I'm here, and today I'm gonna use like 20 minutes to introduce you guys who I am, who we are, and also what kind of role we play in this Web3. And as you can say, we are Combo, and I am Luna. I am the head of BD of Combo. And also, we are a game-focused layer 2 scaling solutions, especially for Web3 gaming developers and projects. Today, before my presentation and also before we jump to what Combo is, I think I need to take some time to introduce you guys about nowadays what we found and what we research in the Web3 gaming industry. And first of all, I want to introduce about the three limitation aspect as our team found in this ecosystem. And first one is the high barrier to entry. As we all say now, everyone I think is complaining about the Web3 gamings and why there's a few new projects launching on Web3 gaming industry. I think maybe the first one step is the higher barrier to entry, because as we all know, the process is very quite it's quite long. And also, if a projects who want to launch on Web3, they need to facing the risk of storage of the private keys, and also they need connect all those infrastructures behind, and then maybe those kind of things prevent the Web2 users to enter to our Web3 world. And also the second part, as several months we realized there's a really lack of the complete development kit, because as we all say, there's no specific like simple APIs, and also for the platform special SDKs can using directly to those projects or developers. So maybe that's gonna also be another questions or limitations for those developers and also projects to launch their projects on the chain. And also the last one, but not least, of course, this is the issue everyone is facing is expensive transition cost. And as we all say now, the everyone is saying is questioning or questioning about this kind of gas fee. So I think that's gonna be also a question for now the Web3 gaming projects to launching on the chain. And besides that, we did some research, and we are thinking as a game or as a Web3 game, what is the new approach? And maybe we're gonna focus on the triple A blockchain games. That's gonna be a trend. But there's also facing some questions like priority things. We hope those triple A game projects they focus on the gameplay rather than the financial part at the first time, and also attracting players to play the games instead of focus on the financial pay to make money things. But our aim is to complete with a mainstream game. But for them, maybe we need offer the higher quality user experience and high quality entertainment, the model, and also offering user the own ownerships asset and rewarding and innovation things. And also the second part is we want to focus on the full on-chain games. It's related about the like several parts. First one is like deploy the both your game product and content and also asset on chain and also the entire game logics on chain. And the second part of the full on chain games is like technically the capable user can encode or the new rules and the asset and also the interactions into the smart contract. The third part is we hope we can offering a one-stop solution, can customize as composable, and also one player's extension that is also could be the key to expand or could be a way to treat as a new approach to the game to the Web3 games. That's the background, and also we using sometimes to dig the reason, and also after several months and also years we study and searching on this topics, we realized that there's still some barriers for the new approach of the model which I mentioned before. That is let's separate it to say like for triple A blockchain games, we all know there's the high quality game projects or companies they based on like web 2, but for them as I mentioned in the beginning, they lack of the knowledge about the web 3, and also we have experience and we talk a lot of games, and they said okay, if we want to launch on web 3, we need to connect all the infrastructure providers. So this is gonna be the barriers. And also, as we can say, the blockchain games, they quite have a low performance. And the things you can say, like blockchain games often saying as a inferior to mainstream games, and in terms of graphs and gameplay and user engagement. But now the priority things, maybe most of them focus on the financial aspect rather than the gaming aspect. So of course this is gonna be like multiple reason, but now I think it's time to do something. That's why it brings combos here, and we build on Coco's engine. That's why we are here, and I want to introduce one by one why we want to build a combo, and also why we want to rely on Coco's engine. I'm not sure how many of you guys can know Coco's engine, and we have like a big community behind Coco's engine, and it is engine-based development tools to support all the game developers. First of all, and the second part is like we aiming to offer a full stack services. As I mentioned before, it's like one-stop solutions for no matter web 2 game projects or Web3 games. And the third part is we launched on BNB Chain Layer 2, and we offer like full stack, as I mentioned before, and also to combine all the BNB Chain support to offer developers and all the transitions into lower the transition fees into the Web3 world. And this is why we are here. And also we want to offer all the projects a very fulfilled solutions. As I mentioned before, like Cocos, Cocos is a global leading platform, and also it's very famous in the world. And we are targeting the metaverse and gaming, and also XR and AIGC games. And literally, we have 1.6 million global players behind the Cocos, and also it is number one Chinese game engine, and also we reaching out the global developers at 1.6 million, and also the Cocos we have overall 200 plus countries to know and using Cocos engine. So this is the reason why we want to build on Cocos and to offer offer the higher activity community and also the one-stop solutions for all the game projects. And also, maybe you're gonna ask me like why we scaling on BNB chain. I think there's a lot of reason for us to choose BNB chain. The first one is the actively users is very high, and also there's a lot of web. I think until now it's much more than 750 game projects launched on BNB chain, and also as we always focused on the fee. It's very low. It's cheaper than Ethereum and other chains. So that's why we want to first launch on BNB chain, and also in this year. I mean, we want to do a lot of infrastructure collaborate with BNB chain, and also to offering as I said, like one-stop solutions for all those projects, and to make their life or launch business is easier, and also you can focus more time on your performance and on your business mod, and leave all the rest of the job to Combo, and we can helping you to launch. And also here you may say what we can offering. As I said, we try to keep on-chain asset safe. I think this is the priority for all those Web3 projects which we looking forward. And also we achieving a high scalability. And in the future, first stage is BNB chain and EVM compatible. And in the future, there's more upcoming. And also the third part is we reaching out the integrate with Web3 development environment seamlessly. And also, I think the last part is we have the very strong community behind us. That's the reason why we build on Cocos. And also we hope to helping all those Web3 projects they using and also blooming in our community. This is a things. And I want to introduce a little bit about our structure. The basement, we using the Ethereum and the BNB chain, and also our data abilities, we using the Greenfield and Arviv. And also at the top, you will say the user can using it very simple way to using our Explorer and Bridge. We're offering the infrastructure all one step on Combo. And also for developers, maybe everyone is asking about if they have easy APIs and how we can reaching out or launching on Combo. We also offer the one-stop solutions for SDKs and indexings. You can easily find on Combo, and we have a big community behind us. In the end, I will show you guys more. And also, I think everyone want to know more about our tokenomic things. Literally, we have like 100 millions. We releasing 100 millions, and there's have 29 undiluted tokens, and we are planning to evoke our community with more than 17% of the tokenomics, and also as you can say, the 35% we're gonna using on our hackathons, and also other kind of like builder house to let projects to know us and build on combos. And in the end, I want to introduce you guys about our roadmap. And now in this stage, we are just launched our testnet, and our mainnet is upcoming. And in the future, as I mentioned in the beginning, to say we would love to hold all kind of incubators and also evoke all those projects to launch on Cobos. And we have the clearly incentive programs and to welcoming all those high quality projects to contact with us and launch on combos. And in the end, I think before I spend a lot of time to explain and also introduce about combo, I would rather to spend more times to introduce you guys about our partners. And this is the reason why we can build a one-stop solutions for Web3 gaming projects, and also they can helping all those Web 2 and Web 2.5 or Web 3 projects to build on Combo smoothly. So here is all about Combo, and thank you for everyone to join our session, and feel free to reaching out. I'll give the mic to Marvel. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Luna, for those insights on the combo ecosystem and what you're building. I think it was some of the challenges you raised at the beginning for Web3 gaming. I think definitely, I think some of us can relate to those, maybe people listening in as well. So great to get your insights, and excited for you to be building and contributing to the ecosystem. So
thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have our next session starting in just about 12 minutes, or just under 10 minutes. So we can, oh, we already have Jess. Oh, amazing. Hi, Jess.
Hello. Hey.
Hey,
Marvin.
welcome. Welcome to the party. How's it going?
Good. How's it going? Very exciting and hardcore sharing from Luna. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, thank you. Welcome. We'll hand over to you. Excited for you to share more about Hooked, what you're building, kind of the ecosystem at large.
Sorry, Marvin, I think I lost you. I assuming this is my time to start, or shall we wait for... you're back. Hi. Sorry, I was like, wait.
No, feel free to start.
Okay.
So yeah,
okay.
Go ahead.
Or should we wait until time? Is there like a...
Oh, I think okay for you to stop. It's okay. And if you need a bit more time, we can continue.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Let me get the screen working so far. Okay. Slides. Let's do this. Perfect. Hi guys, I hope you guys can see me on the screen okay, and thank you so much for joining in. I guess today we have a very hardcore builders focused session on infrastructure, and my name is Jess. I am the CMO from Hooked Protocol. I would like to today share with you guys a bit of 2 cents of what we've been building and how do we leverage the opBNB chain to scale up our entertainment solution, and hopefully to mass adopt the next billions onto the Web3 platform. A bit of the background. Today, we're going to show you how do we redefine the infrastructure and building the bridges, basically paving the way from Web 2 to Web 3. What kind of infrastructure solution we're building on? Because I guess Hooked Protocol, we're known to be the entertainment brand and creator of various of educational experiences, but actually deep down beneath the iceberg that you see is a very thick layer, millions of hours of developers building the infrastructure that allow these experiences to be possible. So today, I guess we're going to spend time with the equally hardcore crowd on the solution that we're building on that front. So a bit about us. Hook Protocol, as we said, we're an immersive entertainment network hoping to on-ramp the next billions of people onto Web3. And how are we going to do that? Basically through two rounds. One is through education and the other is through entertainment. And together we coined a phrase called edutainment. This is not new to Web3, but however, it's a very new application applied to Web3 when it comes to massive adoption. Here's a little bit about the why. We believe that the most prominent barrier to massive adoption right now is one through lack of education, meaning people don't know how to get into Web3 safely, they don't know what is the first step, and the onboarding journeys very often arduous and cumbersome, right? Like we all have the experience of having to figure out the best wallet solution, we have to memorize those special phrases, and we have to figure out what to do when we lose them. It's not very straightforward. And on the other hand, it's very difficult to motivate yourself to learn, because learning is by nature could be dry, and lack of motivation and incentives is very hard to continue. So we would like to be helpful, entertaining at the same time, to hopefully help address these two issues or barrier when it comes to massive adoption in the very first place. So edutainment is how Hooked identify as a way to achieve massive adoption. So a little deep dive into how we address the mission of massive adoption. So right now, as some of you might have known, we have built an on-suite of very educational and gamified immersive social learning experiences, including Wild Cash, which is a learn-to-earn very interactive gaming platform. And we also have AI Sensei, which is powered by ChatGPT AI, allow people to interact with the Web3 knowledge space seamlessly. So we're known for building this kind of experiences, right? But on the other hand, we're also building the technology that support this kind of experiences and also support people beyond Hooked, many developers, partners onto the platforms, because we know that in order to achieve massive adoption, we can't go alone. So we want to be the solution provider and the infrastructure layer to enable more developers to help us build these kind of experiences. So here in a nutshell, let me go to the next slide. We want to segue to talk a little bit of Hooked Infra, because we didn't really have the right platform to talk about these in previous conferences. So this is the first time that we are highlighting this aspect. So quite exciting to talking about our onboarding kits when it comes to Web3 on ramping. So bit of segue. What does it entail? So the Hooked Infra is comprised of the Hooked Lego system and the Hooked alumni system. So together, we hope to offer a comprehensive suite of Web3 solutions to create an avenue for developers and dApps builders to unleash the full potential of Web3 in a very user-centric and innovative fashion. So the powerhouse behind Hooked Infra is the Hooked Lego system. We are going to deep dive a bit later on, but I just want to briefly touch on it. What is it? So this assortment of modular Web3 units has been meticulously designed to simplify the development process especially for gamified educational experiences. So with features ranging from NPC wallet integrations to decentralized identity solution, empowered by AI capabilities and social graph entities, we want to offer this as a modular package to developers to allow you to customize your experiences that you want to build to your target audiences. Because we understand that users can come from many different backgrounds, different type of Web3 knowledge, and different kind of cultural backgrounds. So we're allowing developers from these many regions and different backgrounds to tailor-made their solutions for the consumers they see fit. So this eradicates the need for fragmented solutions. You don't have to go to many different partners to validate and onboard different solutions. So we hope to offer a one-stop shop with the agility of a modular setup. So another vital component of Hooked Infra is the Hooked alumni system. So this acts as a transformative gateway from Web 2 to Web 3 that not only educates but also certifies and rewards the Web 3 learners. So here's to address the problem that people educate themselves differently and people onboard onto Web3 through different kind of experiences. And right now, there's not a really systematic way to educate and onboard people. And on the other hand, there's not a good way to certify which level you are and what you need next and to provide support along the way. So with the Hooked Alumni System, this is how we aim to not only educate, but also to certify and reward the learners in a very systematic way. So by integrating gamified learning mechanisms and exhaustive educational resources, this is what the Hook Alumni System offers. One is the Alumni Pass, which is a learners exclusive soulbound token based pass to document and certify your Web3 learning journey and paths. The medals is also learners NFT-based accomplishment medals. This will shape your unique journey into the social-fi landscape, so you can earn medals and also compare yourself to others. So this creates like a social and healthy competitive environment, hopefully to incentivize to go further. And we also have a scholarship program that support learners in their own Web3 education journey by offering incentives and rewards at the very timely and fun manners along their achievement journey. So with this ensuite of product features within Hooked ecosystem and Alumni Pass, we aim to assist the Web3 businesses and also other Web3 project partners in converting their existing user base into a more proactively participants into the Web3 community. So sorry, I dive a little bit deeper on that page because it's quite important, especially to builders out there to understand what we can offer as a full picture. So next slide, let's go a bit deeper into the Lego system. So here, the keyword, I guess, is the modular ability, so you can customize. So it's kind of like you're building Legos. You can pick and choose different pieces that you want to highlight and build into whatever shape or experiences that you want. So imagine a crypto management paradise where all your needs are met under one unified roof. So this is what we aim to provide as a la carte and out-of-the-box experience. So no more judging between fragmented solutions across different channels and vehicles and different protocols. So here, what we aim to offer. So as mentioned before, we now have a modular pieces you can pick from solution from NPC wallets to DID-based growth engine to fast track your user growth journey and also decentralize your user onboarding and retention base because of the modularity of the ecosystem that we provide. And for the Hooked Alumni System, I guess what we want to highlight here is here is a very unified way to document and to certify and to reward your Web3 learning journeys because learning can be dry and learning can be lonely, especially a lot of these experiences are taken online in a very isolated way. So we want to build a social and fun part and the rewarding part back into the learning processes. So with the Hooked Alumni System is a gateway to a realm of endless possibility when it comes to learning. So this system leverages a comprehensive all-in-one SDK, providing developers with the tools to supercharge the application with ease. One of the key strengths of the Hooked Alumni System is the frictionless integration of capabilities. By seamlessly integrating into developers' application, it creates a seamless user experience and also allowing a greater adoption and engagement down the road. So here, we really want to offer the one-stop solution to developers again, but this time with a solution that the users can perceive themselves, right? So through the soulbound token-based on-chain proof and NFT-based achievement medals, we can reshape the social fi landscape when it comes to Web3 learning. So that's like kind of a user experience side of innovation toolkit that we provide with the developers community. So see the Hooked Alumni System as a one-stop shop for developers to create a frictionless integration and into innovative features for customer-facing purposes. So next, how do these things work together? Like, why do we have our own suite of apps, and also we have our we're also building our own infrastructure because we want to create this flywheel that on one hand we are educating users and onboarding more and more Web3 curious onto the platform through our own educational and entertainment immersified experiences. On the other hand, we want to enhance the development and create faster and richer education experiences by offering infrastructure solution to developers. So together, we will have a growing flywheel of growing user base and richer experiences and better rewards and more projects to be on board and more users in the end. So this is how we imagine the user growth plus the development platform growth together. So there are a few steps involved in this SDK integration and user growth engine. So in step one, our partners will seamlessly integrate with the Hooked alumni system and allowing them to guide the users who seek to enhance their Web3 knowledge and onto our learning platform. So for step two, we will provide practical and simulated scenarios, offering users with the opportunity to engage in the real life scenarios with our platform, because a lot of the questions after education is what now, how I can apply my new learned knowledge. So in this way, with a seamlessly integrated SDK solution, we allowed our newly educated users to utilize new product experiences on platforms that our partners built. So in this way, in step two, we will channel users into different, and providing them into a more richer user experience world. And in step three, we will lead us to redirect these users back to the platform, supporting the growth of our partner platforms. So bigger users, enriched scenarios, massive adoption. Okay, and next, I would like to talk a bit about the practical side of things. So our focus has always been focused on building gamified Web3 learning dApps, and as the first point of contact for adoption through the Hooked infrastructure. By proving this method works and our infrastructure work, we have built a successful on-suite of educational experiences and dApps on our own infrastructure to showcase how it could be done. That includes Wild Cash, To the Moon, which is a live streaming game show, and we also have Hooked Academy Sensei, as mentioned earlier. So with these demos, I would say we have proved how we can achieve network effects and scale to a very significant amount of user base in a very short amount of time, utilizing our own infrastructure and user growth engine. And I would like to use the remaining of time to highlight how we've done it with our own solution and how you could too, utilizing our solution infrastructure. First of all, let's turn into Wild Cash, is my personal favorite and one of our first debut and proof of our achievements. So we have here a product of Quiz to Learn, which is quite simplified to use for those out there who have used it before. You answer a few questions about Web3, educate yourself on different topics, and you will gain timely rewards, and you also can engage in bi-weekly competition with others, and you will also get a different rewards, and you can use the rewards in many other different scenarios. So what's going into the back end? So here we have a combination of the MPC wallet. As you log onto the system very easily, there's no prior knowledge of Web3 needed. You only need to log on with your email, and you already automatically have your first wallet. And then through the growth engine, you will learn how to earn cryptocurrency, what different cryptocurrency means, and how do you on and off ramp them. And there will be monetization rewards once you achieve a certain milestone with the app. You can also trade and engage with each other. So you're learning about very Web3 native activities on a safe and educational and fun environment without risking anything of your own money yet. So with this app, we have achieved over 10 million downloads and over 3 million of monthly active users, which is a very eye-dropping significant achievement as our first debut app that's built on BNB Chain solution. So with this phenomenal increase of user size and revenue, we have proved how you can scale up and build a user-friendly, frictionless experiences using our on-suite of the on-ramping infrastructure. And next, that leads us to the moon, which is live streaming learn-to-earn features that's built on our LEGO modular system as well. So how does this experience work? Because we realize some people would prefer a very personalized and learning experiences rather than solo learning on your own. So bi-weekly, we will have very engaging live hosts from all around the world to ask you questions. You can compete for the prize pool of usually 1,000 hosts online. And at the same time, you engage with the online conversation, and each topic is sponsored by our industry partners and very important topics in the Web3 education world as well. So with this app, we have successfully achieved a user engagement base also rather quickly. We have over 1.5 million people who are collecting our tickets. The ticketing system also is looped back into our own tokenization and our own circle of economy. And we have 300,000 viewers online tuning into our weekly show. So this system in the back end utilizes the MPC wallet, DID, and also the modular monetization functionalities that we mentioned earlier that's built into the LEGO modular system. So if you want to offer anything quite similar to this, this is what we can offer as well as a live streaming game show format. And last but not least, I would like to introduce our host alumni sensei, which is a very fun virtual tutors with different personalities that can engage with you on Web3 education topics. They all have different style of learning or teaching that allows you to go onto your journey at your own pace while building a connection with your own tutor that would know everything about your history and would know how to incentivize you at a time of need. So this offering leverages the LEGO modular system as well as the AI power to enhance the user engagement and interaction rates. So what we have achieved, we have over 1 million education sessions and counting, and exceeding 2 million minutes of learning in duration. This kind of scale has not been seen much before in the Web3 plus AI's application, right? Everyone's talking about how to combine this to technology to fast track and upscale the next level of Web3 native experiences. And we believe we have achieved that in terms of providing personalized Web3 education content at scale. So yes, want to really highlight the Hooked Academy Sensei that leverages the AI technology as well as the LEGO modular infrastructure. So if anyone of you out there that's building a solution that's based on AI platform and seeking for modular onboarding features and functionalities, let's talk about that. After the show, feel free to reach out to us. Okay, I guess we're almost at time. I want to quickly tie it back together and talk about a hooked educational ecosystem. Here, what we want to achieve is to bring all of the talents and builders together and then build the next level of Web3 native experiences when it comes to education and entertainment for our users, right? And really bridging the world of Web2 and Web3. Because as Luna mentioned earlier, a lot of the experiences, especially when it comes to gaming and education, are identified and really well done by the Web2 world. And we want to leverage the good parts that we that we already learned and tested in the Web2 world, and then bring it into Web3 and really help users to bridge this gap in a seamless and user-friendly way. So this groundbreaking ecosystem really allows partners and users from both spheres to interact with each other in a painless way. And this is what we aim to do as a protocol from day one to now. And we would like to highlight that we're really excited to announce that we're one of our first dApps to build on opBNB, and really leveraging the scalability of the solution, especially the higher throughput and the lower gas fee, really help us to lower the friction of interaction and allowing our solution to be enjoyed for a much larger user base, and which is essential basically when it comes to method adoption, because we need that scalability to go beyond our own silo and echo chamber of the apps and bring more users and developers on the platform. So let's talk a bit about how we're utilizing opBNB to scale up our solutions by harnessing the opBNB benefits, such as swift transactional speeds and minimum fees. We really aim to enhance the user experiences and address the developers' challenges head on. This is more underlying our commitment to fostering the Web3 adoption and propelling innovation as well. We have endless conversation with BNB Chain team and with Arnold's team also at ECC earlier to really talk about how we can combine the best of our solutions as being the ones that's closer to the market and understanding how to really grow the user space and leveraging the really rich ecosystem that are already existing within the BNB Chain ecosystem, and how do we pick those lower hanging fruits and to create the first network effect, leveraging the opBNB solution. So we're really excited to be one of the first to be on board and to be connected with amazing ecosystem partners. And next on, we will want to talk a bit of what we at Hooked we want to focus on and what we will build onto next. Firstly, we cannot talk about scalability and mass adoption without talking about interoperability. So as we bridge the gap between Web 2 and 3, we really prioritize using the seamless communication between diverse system and applications. So by connecting the disparate and disjointed blockchain platforms and technologies together into one, we're building a unified and very efficient ecosystem where the data can be shared and transaction processing can happen effortlessly and instantly. So this is quite important to us. And the second is scalability. This is the hottest topic now, and everyone's talking about how to scale up this solution. When we really believe that opBNB can support us, our protocol to scale effectively, which is very important to our mission. And we also want to talk about the customization piece, which is especially with the Lego system, we aim to bring the modular experiences that allow customized experiences to be built, because in a diverse world, a one-size-fits-all solution is no longer adequate. We aim, as users, we also aim diverse and new experiences. So that's why we offer the building blocks, but not the end picture. We want to create possibilities by providing the very basic Lego blocks for partners to build on. And the last piece, we want to talk about account abstraction, which is also a huge topic during ECC in Paris. We believe that in empowering our users, and a crucial aspect is giving them the control over their accounts, right? Especially for newcomers into the spheres, security and having the sense of control is so important to build that initial trust. So by abstracting accounts functionalities, we really enable users to manage their own security and privacy settings in this way to ensure they have the final say in their own data, which we believe is essential to long-term success for new users onboarding into this platform. So to summarize, this is what we want to focus on. Most importantly is definitely the user experiences, especially if bridging people from Web 2 to Web 3. We need to provide very familiar, smooth, and painless experiences that people are already familiar with in Web 2, and provide that same level of quality of experience in Web 3. And we want to create more use cases together with our builder partners to offer people more things to do with their with more knowledge they acquired, so that they feel more engaged and being part of the community as well, to help them thrive. And last but not least, we want to offer innovative solutions and experiences for users to keep refreshing and feel like they belong to an evolving world, because Web3 world really evolves on a daily basis, and we want to capture the latest of technology and provide that refreshness of the user experiences when it comes to education content. So I guess this is a call to action time, because this is very exciting for us to be here talking to many of the fellow builders out there in this market. We really embrace people who can join our mission and to really bring in the fundamentals to the Web3 world, right? Newer user base and richer user experiences. So please join us on opBNB and be part of our mission to drive the Web3 method of adoption. We really believe that this is the next a driver of growth beyond our current bottleneck. So how to get in touch? Here is our QR code, and feel free to reach out to me personally, scan our code, and reach our team to engage in our conversation on what we touched on earlier. If you're interested in either of the solution, being the Lego modular building growth engine system or our alumni system, where we can provide you with auto building kits and the first dip into the education journey, feel free to talk to us about it. If you're building any experiences based on AI, happy to talk as well, and how to really leverage technology to scale up content production and entertainment experiences production. So yeah, I guess we touch on quite a few, because we know that you guys out there are building amazing solutions and experiences from different angles. We want to see where we can help and fit in. In a parting words, I want to say we believe that the technology of Web3 could be enjoyed by more people, and it should be enjoyed by more people. And we're here to level the playing field by educating more people of what this technology could mean. And we believe that with opBNB as an amazing partner to allow us to scale up this experience, and fellow developers and users out there who want to make this world better, we're happy to go together, because together we go further. And we have a long way to go, and we're quite excited to be one of the very first to be on this journey together with such an amazing team, and we look forward to hear from you. And if you have any questions and comments, feel free to reach out. And again, very thankful to be here, and thanks for tuning in, and can't wait to hear from you next. I guess I'll pass the mic back to Marvin if you're still here.
Yep. Thank you so much, Jess. That was really really insightful. I actually loved what you were saying about merging kind of the best practice, the tech, the know-how from Web 2 and bring it, the best of Web 3. And I think a lot of that thinking is kind of where the industry is going right now in terms of account abstraction, which you mentioned as well. So it was very comprehensive, very smooth, very clear, and packed with insights for everyone. So thank you again. And excited to see Hooked grow on opBNB.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jess. So for the next session, we will be joined by the CyberConnect team. So welcome, Zimao. I think you may
Hey, Marvin.
Hey,
can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you very well. Welcome. Thank you so much for being part of the Hackvolution event. For those who may be tuning in now, because it is a long event, this is day 3 of the Hackvolution series, where we're meeting with founders and contributors from some of the world's leading protocols in Web3 who are really building on BNB Chain and shaping what the future Web3 looks like. And without further ado, I will hand over to the CyberConnect team to share more about what they're building on the BNB Chain ecosystem. So I will hand over the stage to you. Apologies, I think there are some technical difficulties with the CyberConnect team. So just give us a few moments and they go back to normal in just a few moments. So please bear with us. Okay, we back?
Yeah. So, yeah. Sorry. I'm wondering, do you have slide? Cause yeah, I'm figuring out like how to share slides on my.
I think we will share that on the back end. So don't worry, our team will put that on the screen. And here we go.
Oh, okay.
Fantastic. Over to you.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Hi guys. My name is Jimal. I'm one of the co-founders at CyberConnect, and welcome everyone to this session and to hear more about what we're building and where we're trying to achieve and how we're gonna power next generation of dApp decentralized applications on opBNB. Especially like we have a recent upgrade to CyberConnect version 3, which is more focused on account abstraction. Yeah, let's maybe move on to next. Yeah, so basically a little bit of background about account abstraction. So basically in old ways, user to interact with Ethereum use their external owned account as known as UAs. So this is the only way to start a transaction or execute a smart contract. So this actually limits like how user can interact with Ethereum. For example, everything you own, your social data or your identity data is associated or like binding to this EUA. But once you like, for example, a simple example is like use your EUA, you lose like everything you have, like your assets, your identity, etc. It's difficult. It makes it very difficult to change. For example, when you transfer, say 20, you have to approve first and then transfer to certain contracts. And also there's lots of other limitations, such as gas fee limitations. Every time when you try to interact with some protocols, for example, DeFi protocols or social protocols, you have to pay the gas fee, use your own UAs. And all of these are limitations as far as we think, because in the future, we think the Web3 is more open and should be more generic to everyone to join this ecosystem. So that's like we think all of these limitations can be eliminated like with like the account abstractions. Yeah, next please. Yeah, so because previously we running like our CyberConnect V2 protocol on BNB Chain, and we achieve quite milestones. We have like about 200K to 500K average like transactions per day, and now we are upgrading to our V3 protocol. So a little bit like reminds to CyberConnect V2. So V2 is purely on-chain social graph. So the social graph means like we have a set of smart contract protocol to record users' social data and their social relationships. For example, if you follow someone or like you collect someone's content, then the protocol will mint NFT for you. So we use like the NFT as a data format to express the relationship between identities and between the identity and their content and their targets. But as I mentioned before, previously we used like UA and their profile NFT as a start point to express their social identity data. But we find out actually there are more interesting way to express this kind of social identities, especially using abstract account. So what's the benefit of account abstraction? So as far as I can see, number one is like we separate the logic of authentication and the identity layer. So basically, kind of like you have some underlying controller to control your identity. That identity is represented as your account. So the underlying controller could be an EOA, could be some third-party agent to help you custodial your private key. So what does that mean? It means like you can find a more either way to onboarding users without expose UA concept or without expressing the private key to them. For example, there are mixed way to, for example, using MPC technology to split the UA to split the private key into different shares, and each like individual or like each agent can help you custodial the share so that we can achieve social login using your, for example, Gmail or Twitter or Discord, so that you can use your social account to control your identity, to control your account. So in V3, we are upgrading from a UA design to a abstract account, so that like every social data or social relationship is associated with your cyber account. And the UA or like the social login or like MPC technology is the underlying controller. So that is a separation of like authentication and or resolution layer of UA and your account. Yeah, and besides the separation, the new upgrade of cyber account is inherited the design of ERC 4337. So this is a very popular topic in current crypto industry, and we totally compatible with this standard, make like our account more generic, more accessible to Web2 users, and to make the whole account more easy to adopt and to use. Could you next slide? Yeah, so that is a summary of abstract account through smart contract wallet. So basically, the first is about define your own flexible security rules. That is authentication I just mentioned before. And the second one is recover your account if you lose your keys. So as I said, like, because the authentication layer is separate from the account layer, so that the underlying controller can be recovered if you have a third-party agent to custodial your private key, or like you have an on-chain guardian network to recover your key. For example, your smart contract wallet or your cyber account, you can set like different guardian to help you to manage your key. And once you lose your the UA to control your smart contract wallet, then it means like you can use this on-chain guardian to help you recover your access to the account. Number three is about share your account security across trusted advice or individual. That is more related to the Guardian network I just mentioned. And another very, very important things for cyber account is like we make it fully compatible with 4337. And the whole 4337 does is like it try to manage transaction in an alternative mempool. So what does that mean is like it separates the logic of validation and the execution of your transaction. So in other words, like your account can be accessed use different authentication method. And also when execution, there could be someone else to pay the gas fee for you. So for example, if there are third-party partners want to try to sponsor your gas fee, for example, if you just help them to do the referral program, or like you cash in some gas credit using a PayPal on this third-party partner, that means like they can help you to sponsor your gas fee. So you don't have to hold any cryptocurrency to execute your transactions. That is super powerful because imagine like combining the social login with this gas fee sponsorship, it means like in UX flow, someone can just use their Gmail, use their Twitter to log in a crypto account, and then use a third-party service such as fiat caching to pay the gas fee for them, so that they can interact with the whole blockchain systems, with the DeFi systems, with other crypto protocols without care of their GOAs, without care their secret keys or their gas fees. So that is super powerful because we believe that will help us to onboarding the next level of Web2 users. And last two is about more functionality wise of smart contract wallets or cyber accounts. So one is like batch transaction, I just mentioned before. You can batch like many transactions to single transactions to execute, so that you can save tons of gas fees to execute your transactions. Yeah, that's basically the summary of our upgrade to from a UA design to abstract account design through like CyberConnect smart contract wallet. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is more technical details about how it works with ERC 4337. So the as I said before, it's a separation between of like a validation stage and the execution stage of your, for example, transactions. Let me quickly go through the workflow. So basically, there are some endpoint contract that is a global unique on every chain. So for example, on BNB chain, opBNB chain, on Polygon, on Ethereum mainnet, there's only one entry point contract. So that is kind of like the manager of the whole ERC 4337 workflow. And how it works is like we at the very beginning, at the very left, we have some EOAs to control your smart contract wallet. Because remember, for each transaction in Ethereum, you have to have some EOA to initialize the transactions. So at the very beginning, your EOA will try to sign some messages and send out the signed message. That is not pure sign message. It is some user operations according to the definition of ERC 4337. And after the EOA signed the 4337 user ops, it will send out user ops to some bundler network. And then the bundler network will try to just broadcast your user ops to the Ethereum. And during the process, the entry point contract will go back and forth to talk with your smart contract wallets. And the major purpose of it is to have some so-called paymasters to sponsor the gas fee for you. So for example, when you say, okay, I want to execute these transactions, I first build a user op for my transactions and submit to the so-called bundler network. And then the bundler network will send out the user ops to the entry point contract. And the entry point contract will figure out, okay, so if this user op is sponsored by some paymasters, if yes, then it will charge the fee from the paymasters, so that your smart contract wallet don't need to pay the gas fee for it. Otherwise, it will use your balance from the smart contract wallet you hold to execute the transactions. So the whole workflow is just try to make the gas fee more flexible, so that in the future, if like for example every wallet, everyone trying to adopt this new standard, it means like there would be emerging like gas fee marketplace. For example, you are the holder of some smart contract wallet or cyber account. You can choose the underlying paymasters, or you can choose underlying who can pay the gas fee for your transactions. So that makes the whole gas fee delegation flexible, and you can come up with lots of strategies to cover the gas fee for users. For example, if you think this user is a very qualified user or very like committed user, you can say, for example, this user help you referral other users. Then you can choose to delegate 10 transactions for the users, so that the user don't have to do anything to execute their transactions on chain. Yeah, so that is the simplified workflow of ERC 4337. And yeah, just to remember, there are two important components of 4337. One is like the bundle network to help like make the transaction more standardized and try to bundle different transactions to one big chunk and to submit to entry point contract. And the second very important player is this so-called paymaster. So paymaster basically decide like how to sponsor the gas fee for the users. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, so after I talked a lot about abstract accounts, so let's go back to CyberConnect V3 a little bit. So basically, the CyberConnect V3 is an upgrade from V2. As I mentioned before, the V2 is more focused on social relationship or social graph data. But the V3's upgrade is introduces a cyber account or like this wallet level, because we think your wallet is more like your social wallet, and you can actually, instead of like put everything to your UA, for example, your ENS, your identity data to your UA, you can actually bind in more social data or more identity data to your cyber account. So that is biggest decision we try to move from UA to a cyber account. So that is one important component on CyberConnect V3, which is like in the future, everyone will have their cyber account. That is a 4337 compatible multi-chain account system to provide like seedless and gasless user onboarding experience. And then the second component is what we call the cyber graph. So the cyber graph is an extension of CyberConnect Protocol v2. So it's a censorship resistant smart contract protocol to record users' content and their social connections. For example, your followings and your social media data, and all of these are associated with your cyber account. And in terms of a monetization channel, it's an expansion from CyberConnect v2 protocol, because in v2 protocol, we already have some monetization channels. For example, you can convert your social data, like your content, your following relationship to some NFT format, so that everyone can pay fees to mint such NFT to express their favor or their endorsement to your account or to your social relationship. And that will be inherited from V2, which means like V3 just have this building monetization channels for different social data and social identity, and or also your social relationship. And the last piece is about cyber network. So cyber network is like considering the scalability. For example, we already have over 10 millions of social relationship and social data recorded online. But the next biggest problem we try to solve is like how should we scale the blockchain systems? How should we scale the protocol to make it more compatible to like more users, to like a more accessible for everyone. So as we know, like the current scale of Web3 is pretty small compared to Web2 scales. So Web2 has 1 billion of users. If like we put 1 billion users of social data, identity data, or social connection data to blockchain, then it will be a nightmare for now, because the gas fee and the storage structure won't allow us to scale in such a way. So the cyber network's goal is to try to handle the scalability. So what does it mean? It's like when you design a blockchain systems, there are always a trilemma, as like Vitalik point out. There's a security, decentralization, and scalability. You can only choose 2 of them when you're designing your blockchains. So that's why like we have so many L2s, L3s, and sidechains right now, because every blockchain has its own design choices. So some blockchains, for example, Solana, is moving very aggressive towards the scalability and sacrifice some security. And for Ethereum L1, it try make like make every transaction super secure, but it has sacrifice of scalability, so that like the transaction per second on Ethereum is very slow. And our goal is to build our in-house L2s, L3s in the future by, for example, utilizing the standard stacks like the OP stacks or like Arbitrum Orbit, so that we can hack our blockchain systems. We can have our own designs. We can maybe adjust the parameter a little bit to make the trilemma more towards the scalability. So what that means, because we think like the social data or relationship data may be less valuable, and we can make it more scalable by reduce a little bit like security level of this social data and make it more scalable in the future. So that is the whole purpose of a cyber network. Yeah, the last one is a quick summary of the CyberConnect ecosystems. So it can be separated into 2 parts. The left one is the cyber account, which is more about identity layer. So it contains everything you have, your identity data and your access control to your abstract accounts. You can choose different plugins because it's a ERC 69000 compatible design. You can, for example, use your Gmail or your UA, your multisig to authenticate to this smart contract wallets. And also, it's a ERC 4337 compatible, and to have a flexible gas fee delegation marketplace. And on the right-hand side is what I mentioned before. It's the whole cyber graph, and it has different concepts built in, such as WEST is a Web3 status token, can be issued by some organizations, and it has some built-in subscription model for you to monetize your social relationship. And it has different NFT to express your social relationships, such as a content NFT, common NFT, share NFTs. And eventually we have a naming system called a Cyber ID. Basically, it's similar to ENS. You can plug in your Cyber ID to your Cyber account to make it more memorizable for instead of just remember some blockchain hexagrams. Next, please. Yeah, so to quick summary, Cyber account is 4337 compatible, and also it's multi-chain. Multi-chain I haven't mentioned a lot before, because when you think about like Cyber account, it's actually we use Cray2 technology to make the address deterministic across different blockchains. So it means like you get your same Cyber account address on different blockchains, and you have the same authentication method underlying. So it makes this whole multi-chain or chain agnostic, because as I mentioned before, like we have some bundler design, and the bundler is independent of like the blockchain status, because you have different alternative mempool on different blockchains, and we handle the complexity of different blockchains. You can just assign using your UA to do authentication, and then you can execute your transactions on different blockchains. And yeah, eventually it's a paymaster pay the gas on any chains. This is the whole workflow of like how it works to, for example, the eventual UX would be like you can cash in with your PayPal or use whatever you have. For example, your Matic on Polygon, you can cash in with this concurrency, and then you can execute your transaction on any other chains. For example, on BNB, opBNB in the future, even if you don't have a native token, you can pay the gas fee using like PayPal or like use like your Matic on Polygon. Next slide, please. Yeah, so I think that's a quick intro of CyberConnect registries upgrade and the Cyber account, and how like we think about we should handle the social graphs, social data, and how should we onboard in the next level of users in the future. Yeah, thank you. And I just leave my Twitters there in case you have any questions. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, Zimao. I think really insightful and very helpful to hear about kind of the infrastructure that is being built to onboard the next generation of users. So thank you for taking the time. And for those who have been tuning in and who want to connect, encourage you to kind of connect with Zimao on Twitter and follow the Cyber Connect team as well. Thank you so much. And without further ado, we will get ready for our next session focused on sustainable DeFi. And here with us today to talk about that, we have a full house of some of the, I guess, hottest or most talked about protocols right now in the industry. So we have Bob from Maverick Protocol and Dan tuning in from Pendle. Welcome both.
Hey there. Hey there, thanks for having us.
Hey, Dan, you got the full setup with the mic. I mean, you could be launching a podcast.
Nah, I just do photography at the side, so I have all these gears ready.
Amazing. Well, welcome both. Thank you for taking the time. I know we did a slightly similar session, at least panel-wise, a few weeks back on Twitter. So some people in the audience might pick up on that. For those who are maybe a little bit newer to the ecosystem, I will definitely give Dan and Bob a chance to introduce themselves. So should we start with you, Dan? Quick intro to yourself and Pendle.
Sure. Briefly, my name is Dan. Dan from Pendle. I'm leading the growth efforts in Pendle. For myself, I've been with Pendle pretty much since the founding days of Pendle, and it's been lots of ups and downs for Pendle, lots of trial and error, but mostly just been leading the growth side since then.
Brilliant. And over to you, Bob.
Yeah, hey, I'm Bob. I built the Maverick AMM, so the kind of the core tech there, and I'm happy to be here to talk about it here today.
Fantastic. And actually, maybe we kick off with that with what is that Maverick? What is the story of the Maverick AMM? Just so we can bring everyone up to speed, and we'll do the same for Pendle in a moment.
Sure. Yeah, I think we sought to solve a few problems at Maverick. We realized that protocols didn't have a lot of good tools for shaping their liquidity and managing kind of their global liquidity. And then LPs who were seeking to provide liquidity for token pairs didn't have the right kind of tools to rebalance their liquidity as prices moved. So if you think about something like Uniswap v3 or other concentrated DEXs and AMMs, we saw the biggest whales who were doing the best were constantly rebalancing their positions and moving around their positions, especially for stable pairs and liquid staking token pairs, because you want to stay super concentrated. And if the price moves a tick, you want to move your liquidity a tick. That applies less for super volatile pairs, but definitely for stable-ish pairs. And so, it was clear that the professionals were doing this off-chain. They had all kinds of infrastructure set up to do these sorts of movements in real time, and they were spending a lot of gas to do it. So we decided at Maverick that we could build that sort of mechanism into the AMM natively. And so the idea is you can choose as a Maverick LP to either stake your liquidity in a static distribution, which lets you do the flexibility of any existing DEX out there, whether it's a UniV2 style, a UniV3 style, a stable swap, any of these curves. You can replicate any of those in Maverick, but you've also got this new degree of freedom where you can choose to have your liquidity distribution move with price, and you can choose to have it move in a couple of directions with price. You can either have it be a bullish bet on price or a bearish bet, or you can have it be a hyper-concentrated bet that moves in both directions with price. And so the net of that is now LPs can join a pool. They don't have to actively manage their liquidity. The movement is scalable, so the gas is free for the LPs and almost not noticeable for the swappers. The gas on Maverick beats a lot of these DEXs. So yeah, it's going great. We launched. We started building this in 2021. We launched just this March, and we've been touching top 3, top 4 DEX for the past week or two here. We're about to hit $5 billion total volume.
Congratulations! I know it's been a widely anticipated launch for some time. So not surprised, but still great to see that traction, even in a more turbulent market than perhaps in the past. Brilliant. And over to you, Dan. In terms of the story of Pendle, what does Pendle do? If you can just kind of bring, in the community there'll be developers, there'll also probably be some users as well. So just great to share more. Oh, mute. Beautiful microphone, but it needs to.
Sorry about that. I was just saying congratulations on the trading volume for Maverick. That's pretty insane numbers over there. I think Pendle was founded in mid of 2021. So it started Pendle as a project in mid 2021, but we're building since way before that. But the idea of Pendle is we enable yield trading for users, and what that means is that you can execute pretty much any kind of yield strategies, where if you think the yield's going to go up, you'll long that yield percentage. If you think it's going to go down, you can get fixed yield. The whole idea started from initially when during DeFi summer in 2020, 2019, 2020, when food coin craze was on the rise. You see crazy four-digit percentage APYs, 5-digit percentage APYs. They were fleeting, and they last for 2-3 days, and you can't get them anymore back then. So what we thought was, how do we fix that yield for these crazy high yielding protocols? And so we figured out, tinkered with quite a few mechanics, and figured try to draw inspiration for digital finance as well from interest rate swaps and strips, and figured that this mechanics can really work for all the yield bearing assets in DeFi, and try to figure out a mechanism in which we can enable that on chain. And yeah, we started with Pendle V1 in 2021. Got a few ups and downs, but building throughout pretty much the entire bear market, and then we launched V2 in December of last year. And since then, we've got about 150 million trading TVL, and trading volume has been growing much faster recently to keep up with the TVL growth as well. I think we're sitting at about 130 million trading volume at the moment. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Amazing, super clear. So obviously, we brought you both here today to talk about sustainable DeFi, and it's probably helpful to unpack that, and very keen to get your own thoughts on what that even means, right? We've heard about real yield in the past and other kind of terms that have gained momentum, but what, maybe starting with you, Bob, what do you think of, and especially in this current market, what does sustainable DeFi even mean to you?
Well, I think there needs to be utility. Like, that's the first step, right? So if you've got to be providing some sort of utility. I think in the DEX space, the utility is the obvious utility is just allowing swappers to swap, and then that provides a mechanism for liquidity providers to service those swaps, provide liquidity for them, and collect a fee. So there is already a kind of a flywheel and a loop there that's got new money in, which is traders spending fee to get swaps. So that inherently has some, is sustainable, has sustainability built in because there is new money in. I think that's really the trick. One of the things we've realized, and I kind of got sidetracked before, but is that protocols are another user here. So there's traders wanting to trade, and they're paying fee, but protocols also want to grow. And so as a new protocol tries to bootstrap, it wants its utility token out in the world, or its yield token, whatever token it's got. And in order for that token to be useful, it needs to have liquidity. It needs to have a market so that you can swap in and out of that token. And so another source of kind of real yield in DeFi is protocols spending real money, new money into the ecosystem in order to bootstrap their protocol and their token associated with that protocol. So we see that in the form of like liquidity mining. And that's another thing that Maverick is kind of innovating on, is allowing protocols to do really surgical liquidity mining. Before Maverick, it was in like a curve gauge or a sushi farm, way back in the day. You had to incentivize the entire pool as a protocol. Price equals 0 to price equals infinity. You're incentivizing that entire price curve. But in Maverick, you can incentivize a concentrated position or a specific distribution of liquidity that's not possible in other systems. So we're letting the protocols really target how they incentivize liquidity, and that's another kind of source of real yield, which I think at the end, to me, those two equate. In order to have something sustainable, there's got to be new money in, creating real yield.
Super clear. Dan, what do you think? Anything to add or any?
Yeah, I think we're pretty aligned with Bob over there. But I'll add in a little bit more on that, and that I think I would call sustainable DeFi DeFi that has I would say building the resilience is something that will be sustainable. What I mean by that is every single design of your protocol. I'm just talking about from protocol design here. I think the overall market is very hard to design a sustainable overall market. I mean, even in traditional finance for centuries, we haven't figured out really sustainable form of finance, because there's obviously big ups and downs, and you have scams like Enron still ongoing, and a lot of things undercover. But I think on DeFi, what we can do is building individual projects that are sustainable. I think what Bob mentioned there is pretty clear, like incentivizing liquidity into specific ranges where it's useful. I think that's one part of it. I think a bigger part of it in protocol design is designing a protocol that is sustainable throughout all fronts: your incentives, your tokenomics, your yield, your community, people that are building on top of you. I think this goes a long way in designing the protocol itself. I think one clear example would be Curve. Back then had a pretty good design overall. It was pretty cool. It works. They had real yield. People actually coming in, just Curve demand for the protocol. There's one key part that is right now being really tested, where pretty much half of the circulating supply is in one guy, and that is kind of I don't know how it's going to play out, but at the moment it's biting them behind their back at the moment. I think that's what I call just one part in your design that is not sustainable can cause the entire protocols to be in shambles. I think Luna is one. I think everything that's failed previously is also just one key part of the protocol design is flawed, and the whole entire protocol's failed. I think what I call sustainable is designing a protocol from the ground up and having every single component of the protocol work together, but it can also function independently in a way that none of them, if one of them fails, doesn't bring down your entire protocol.
As part of that kind of anti-fragility or resilience argument, is that you mentioned Kev, right? So is security part of that?
For sure, security is part of that. I think a lot of people take it for granted that not your keys, not your coin, on chain, being like a DYOR culture. But I feel like in order for us to grow, you can't expect everyone to read a smart contract level. Me personally, I can't. So I have to rely on third-party services to vet the protocols, and I still think it's part of the protocol's responsibility to manage their own protocols risk. And yeah, it is part of the sustainable DeFi building processes.
No, this is maybe slight segue, but in terms of the kind of the ongoing situation on Curve, what do you think the lessons here are for the ecosystem? I think it is always a blow when a very large, established, trusted brand anchor, protocol. I mean, an anchor of a brand, I should say. If it's affected, what sort of material impact do you think this will have on the ecosystem?
I can take that question first,
Yeah.
but yeah. So I can't really point at 1% at fault here. I think the tokenomics design is really up to the protocols to design the protocols however they want. If Michael have 47% of the entire circuit supply of Curve, it can be, but I think people should take that into account as well. But I think another part of the problem that could have been prevented would be the money markets setting a responsible collateral factor for Curve, knowing that big part of the Curve circular supply cannot be exited with just the Curve ETH liquidity on Curve. Just basically not enough liquidity for all the letters to be liquidated is irresponsible setting of the Curve parameters on the money markets. I think that's something that can be improved. But in terms of design, there's also a big part in like having such a big concentration into one single entity of your circular supply. But I think this is also a problem in traditional finance, where the early founders pretty much hold like more than half of the circular supply of a particular stock, for example. There's no problem with that, but the thing is they have deeper liquidity and more regulation, and they're more strict in not letting founders exit their positions. But in DeFi or in crypto, the founders have pretty much free will on whatever they want to do, and that can cause some liquidity issues if they do decide to exit in one way by straight up exiting, or even just semi-exiting by borrowing against their own position, which all of this have to be taken into account during the tokenomic design, and also by other money markets when they take things to collateral.
So, Bob, anything to add to that in terms of maybe the lessons from Curve right now?
I'm probably less tied into the lending and economics than Dan is there. So those are really interesting observations. I think it's awful that the big compiler has got a big bug like that. So the Viper compiler apparently just didn't handle reentrancy properly for certain cases, and that's pretty scary. I think it makes me. There's a lot of auditing that happens in DeFi, but I feel like there's less. So you get auditors looking at contracts, and oftentimes they're very skilled auditors, but I'm not sure that we've got enough of a culture of kind of building tests around all the contracts. So truly fuzzing like every corner case. For instance, if there was a reentrancy test, and it had ran on that compiled version, I mean, it would have just seen that reentrancy was possible. So I think we probably got to do a much better job with testing. And I think auditors need, before they give a stamp of approval that they've just read the contract, there needs to actually be like tests around these sorts of catastrophic corner cases. So that's one of the big things these days.
Noted in terms of like the stronger pressure testing, and also, if I can call it, auditing the audits in terms of the quality. So yeah, no, super clear. Then maybe just on that, but a broader picture, there will be developers in the audience who are having to design their tokenomics, or maybe make difficult decisions in terms of how they build their protocol so that it is sustainable. Would love to learn about, maybe specific things you've done, lessons, stories on building Pendle and Maverick, the steps that you took to make it the sustainable protocol that it is today. So happy for either of you to go first.
Sure. I think the big trick is you need something useful, right? It's back to like, you got to provide some utility. I think if you see just forks and they've just got some minor little tweak, but there's no underlying kind of new utility, it's really just a Ponzi token scheme. That's probably not a good way to start out, just thinking that you're going to just do a tiny little tweak on something that already exists. So that's how we approached this. We wanted to do something new and innovative, and it's gotten some traction.
Very, very crisp, clear and crisp in terms of, it reminds me of that quote, that there are products that people hate and there are products that people don't use, right? So you always need to go, if you are going to enter the space, and this is also, we do encourage us, it should be like a sort of leapfrog in terms of innovation and utility rather than just an incremental improvement. Dan, what are your thoughts?
Pretty much very much aligned with Maverick there, just creating a sustainable protocol. But I can share a little bit on our thought process to it. So we had the luxury of having launched V1 first, managed to iterate on a big part of V1, trying to understand our audience, understand how the protocol works a little bit more, and then launch V2 with that upgraded tokenomics. So V1, our Pendle token, is very much an inflationary token. V2 is where everything comes to play. Start interacting with one another. I think a big part of design is trying to understand that your users are not only the people on your app, but also your token holders, and how do you align incentives between your users and your token holders for them to have aligned incentives to work together with one another. I think that's where the VE system by Curve kind of kickstarted that, like pioneered that really clear cut guidelines on how do you get yourself aligned with one another. And I think we did take that into account. I think beyond that, by building the protocol in terms of security perspective as well, every single component of the protocol in Pendle is very independent of its own. Share a bit more. The yield tokenization section of the protocol, where we tokenize yield in 2 separate tokens, is entirely separate from the AMM. The AMM again is entirely separate from everything else, which is the cross-chain modules for the VE Pendle system, for example, and the overall VE Pendle module is also an independent module of everything else. So if one messes up, hopefully this doesn't really mess up everything else. Yeah. But I think that's more from the from the engineering perspective, but from a protocol design perspective, also everything is pretty independent, and how we figure how to get them to interact with one another in a way that can align all of the participants in Pendle, both everything from builders, users, V Pendle holders, to people who are building on top of Pendle and people who we are building on top of.
Could you share that there's a little bit more clarity on that last point about the interactions, like making sure the interactions are sustainable? Like, what does that mean?
So, engineering-wise, every single key component within Pendle, they're very independent of one another. So if you shut down one part, the other part will still functioning. If you shut down the yield tokenization part, the AMM will still be functioning with the existing with existing assets. Shut down VE Pendle, everything else will still be working. The AMM yield tokenization part will still be working. But the design of the protocol, obviously, when you tokenize yield, you need these yield to be tradable somewhere, and it's tradable on Pendle's AMM, and then on Pendle's, and then this is how these two these two part of the protocol interact with one another. And for VE Pendle, it's very much tokenomic system of the overall protocol, and then how you tie that into the AMM. So a little bit more. I think even within VE Pendle, it's not really essentially a VE code fork. There's some slight differences there because we know that there's taking inspiration a little bit from the VE33 model from Andre Cronje back then, was that part to incentivize, you want to incentivize pools with a high swap fees possible. And how I do that is to tweak a little bit so that swap fees doesn't really go to LP, but instead it goes to the VE Pendle holders. And that in turn incentivizes people to vote for pools with higher fees, and then, deepen the liquidity there, which gives us more fees. It has been working pretty well for us so far, that design regard. But yeah, just to answer your question a little in a more detailed manner, but long way to answer a question. But I think the overall idea is design it in a way that they're independent security-wise and engineering-wise, but then the overall function of the protocol interacts with one another pretty well.
Super clear and insightful. Okay, cool. I'm curious now, obviously, for protocols that were widely anticipated and have strong brands like both of yours, and if you think about sustainability, right? You mentioned the luxury of choice. I mean, there's a luxury of choice today in terms of the proliferation of chains that are out there amongst the L2 Summer, and also just a number of base layer ones as well. How, when you built your strategy for, I'll call it sustainable growth, what were you thinking in terms of perhaps deploying on BNB Chain, or even how you even think about working with a chain, and why you deploy in the particular chain? I think that sort of decision framework would be, if there's anything you can share there, that would be really helpful for people in the community.
Sure. I think for Maverick, it's, as a DEX, we certainly need to go to a chain that's got liquidity and DeFi interest. And then I think, as a new protocol, there's also, you're weighing brand new chains that have maybe a lot of interest and not as many incumbents, with going to big chains that already have lots of volume and incumbents that you're having to compete with. So we kind of did a split there where we launched on Ethereum mainnet, launched on BNB, because tons of volume there, and then launched on ZK Sync. ZK Sync is doing great, and tons of trading volume there, and no real DEX. The big DEX players aren't there. So yeah, that's how we kind of thought about it: is activity, whether we can be first mover, and how long term we think how big and successful we think the chain's going to be.
No, okay. Dan, anything else to add from the Pendle perspective?
Sorry, I got caught off halfway through. Do you mind repeating the questions again?
No, all good. Just talking about how how BNB Chain fits into the sustainable growth agenda of Pendle, and like what you thought about as you made a decision to work with any blockchain, or in this case BNB Chain.
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the bigger signs of sustainability, I would say, is utilization from the community. BNB Chain has been around for quite a while, and you guys have been around. I will consider you guys pretty OG already at this point, and users still stick. You can see things that are usually unsustainable. Users flee after a while, but then you guys have sticking users, and I think that's sort of a telltale sign of something that is pretty positive going on, and what you guys do, the direction that you guys are going for are right. Might be on the marketing side, or even might be on the tech side, but I think the users tell more of the story than what what people say online. So when we decided to go on BNB Chain, just because you guys already have that user base and just that we can straight tap into, and we just provide the value by building the infrastructure of DeFi onto BNB Chain on our side. So, and also to share a little bit more on our experience on launching on BNB Chain. It's a very smooth experience, both from the tech side, just launching our stuff on BNB Chain. I mean, I know it is EVM compatible, it's really easy, but yeah, trying to the bridge infrastructure is there. All the underlying assets are pretty liquid. You already have the user base, and yeah, it was a pretty seamless transition for us to go to BNB Chain. So I think that's also one part of design that I feel like you guys did right.
That's great to hear. And by the way, for the audience, I did not ask Dan to say that, so that is it's good to.
Oh yeah,
Hashtag
not sponsored.
Developer, sort of protocol founder feedback that it's been a smooth experience, and yeah, delighted to hear that, and completely agree. I think there are a lot of great ecosystems, of course, in general, but I think one where there's even if there are incumbents and it can be competitive in certain verticals, one where there's liquidity, sticky users and sticky ecosystems and volume, I think makes a huge difference to kind of building a protocol for the long term. So great to hear that. Lastly, just want to end maybe just on a final question in terms of, DeFi is, or the industry can be at times may feel for some founders like a roller coaster in terms of different headwinds, different surprises. I'm sure people always see those tweets, right? You take a day off and then you come back and you realize a lot has changed. So any advice on how to build that sort of, and you talked about it down earlier, but that resilience, that anti-fragility to build for the long term, make it through all this, perhaps some of these distractions, and kind of win in the long term?
Yeah, so I would think of it as like, yeah, like you mentioned, there's a lot of macro headwinds in the space. Just a protocol design. If your protocol can't sustain macro pressure, I don't think it should even be designed that way in the first place. Luna is one clear example, actually. The moment there's market turmoil, the design breaks, the reflexivity breaks. So if your protocol is only built on reflexivity, it's a very long-winded way of saying that it's a Ponzi scheme where you just rely on new money coming in, and if the moment the new money stops coming in, your protocol stops functioning. And I think that way of designing a protocol is a flawed way of designing things. And I think this doesn't necessarily have to be painfully obvious like a Ponzi scheme. It can be more subtle, like I always say Luna back then in the early days when some people call it out, some people think it functions, but now that we see how it plays out, clearly it doesn't really stand sustaining macro headwinds. But they can also be even more subtle on the tokenomics design layer, or even your protocol fee structure. All of this can contribute in just having a not sustainable design. I think stress testing is a very important part in designing a protocol. Just understanding what can go wrong and testing everything instead of hoping that it doesn't go wrong, or instead of preventing things from going wrong in the first place, because I think you need to anticipate that things will go wrong, and does your protocol break under that circumstance? Yeah, once you figure all this out, I think designing a protocol can be it can be a little bit more challenging, because you feel like every single angle can be a fuck up somewhere. But at the end of the day, that's how it goes to really make something that is resilient in the bear market and in any kind of market conditions, I would say.
So what I'm hearing fundamentally, it's design. It all boils down.
Yeah, really stress test the protocol. Yes, design.
Yeah, amazing. Bob, any words of wisdom to share as well?
Yeah, no, I think that's good stuff. So it's design, and what Dan's really hitting on too is testing, the stress testing, and you should have simulations and understand as these knobs turn, as the market moves up and down, and money comes and goes, what happens to your protocol. So I definitely agree with all that. I think we're all standing on shoulders of giants here, right? Too. So we talked about Curve a few times. I think Curve super innovative with the VE model, did all kinds of things right, and there's some room for improvement. But I think that's another angle on designing a sustainable protocol is you got to do your research. there's certainly been some really cool designs that looked decent on paper, but when we've actually seen them play out, and they don't work as well. I'm not going to name names here, but like you can see some of these just different designs. It turns out like the locking model seems to work really well, and if you have your governance based on a model where there's some penalty but you can unlock, that tends to be less robust in market downturns, because you really want invested people in your protocol. And so I think that's one thing we've learned. We've seen all kinds of variations on locking and unlocking, and it seems like the VE locking model really helps keep your users sticking around and keep them in the governance through highs and lows. So yeah, those are a couple thoughts for me.
Okay, amazing. Yeah, I think it's getting the product right, getting the utility, the design, the liquidity right, gives you the best chance of withstanding all the uncertainty of being a founder and launching something with a lasting legacy. So great insight. Well, I think that brings us to a close. I want to thank both of you, Dan and Bob, for taking the time to be with us here today, to share your insights, and also, ultimately for your contribution to the ecosystem. It makes it a lot richer for the users and the developers here, and ultimately for the next generation to be standing on the shoulders of giants like Pendle and Maverick. So thank you both. Thank you all for tuning in. This will be shared on our channels afterwards, so there'll be replays and anything like that where you can get nuggets of knowledge from all the speakers here today. So a very big thank you to all, and join us tomorrow for day 4 of the BNB Chain Hackvolution series. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thanks.